So what I'm noticing, especially on the issue ya Chamisa, kuti vanhu vana vachiti muri kuramba mutaura nezvake sei, akati ndasiya politics, muri kudii kupindamo. One thing I like about it is that I was one person aimbotaura zvinhu zvakadaro ndichidefenda Chamisa, but I've come to understand kuti it's either he's taking advantage of the understanding that as long it will be difficult for someone probably to gain the mileage that he has now, or rather the popularity that he has now, it will take probably years, or if not years, the effort yakakurisisa nekuzvipira kwakanyanya kuti pazosvika pane munhu ane political muscle yakafanana neina Chamisa agozogamuchirwa nevanhu kuopposition. Kana kuti even zvakadaro inotogona iri system yakatogadzirwa neZANU-PF, because ndakateerera zvaitaura Molokele neZulu. Language yataurwa naMolokele yekuti hatisi kuenda kuma-election because my-election haasi kushanda, which is fair and fine, something that we have all been saying, right? Not all, inini I've been saying my-elections anoshanda, but something that many of you have been saying, right? But now to tell us kuti hatisi kuenda kuma-elections because haasi kushanda and do nothing. So ndaida kumubvunza Molokele neZulu, saka all right, hamusi kuenda kuma-election, but muri kuti we have to reject this system. How do you reject it? No demos, no nothing. What we had soon in my election, 2030 is being implemented. What is that communication? They could, maybe we should just watch and let them do what they are doing, right? So my point, Dzoka Pakuti, some of the things that we are witnessing in Zimbabwe, it seems as if they are being orchestrated behind closed doors. Issue ya Chabangu cheche. Vanhu vatotaura kuti Chabangu is a product of ZANU-PF. Yes. Ukada kuzvitarisa nenzira yaunogona kuona sezvo, but I'll tell you that Chabangu is product yaChamisa. Because how do you tell me kuti party yakaita kunge EFF from South Africa can be hijacked by not munhu asingazikanwe nobody, ongoya zviti ndinda SG, vana Malema vaya vagotosiya party vagotoenda vagoti no ngatisiyani nazvo ndakutomboenda pasabbatical. Party yekuti yakafirwa nevanhu vatakaona nemaziso edu, vana Mboneni Ncube, a lot of people died. A lot of people donated money.
In South Africa, they are
chimborega ntaure mukoma Gondias. Vanhu vanga vasingarari vari pamaspaces fundraising for that political party. Pongozomuka rimwe dahwa rinongotaura this is the SG asingazikanwi, then zvobva zvatongoignorewa, munhu otosiyiwa otoita zvaanoda, otorikola members of parliament. Bullshit. There's nothing like that. That thing chakagadzirwa in that way to fool vanhu vakaita kunge vasingafunge, vanhu vanofunga kuti zvinhu zvingori easy just like that. Hakuna zvinhu zvakadaro izvo. In real politics hakuna zvinhu zvakadaro. Guva munhu unochererwa pasi nekuita zvinhu zvakadaro. Ngazviitike kuZANU-PF. Muone kuti kunoitika zvinhu zvakadaro zvemadhoti zvokuti munhu anongozvimuka ozviti kwaenda SG oti kwaenda kurikola vanhu. Hakuna zvinhu zvakadaro. Unofa kufa kuvharirwa pasi apo. But chakaregerwa nekuti zvakagadzirwa zvakadaro kuti zviitike nenzira iyoyo kuti tisvike patiri nhasi. Hatisina opposition. 2030 is being implemented. Mukai man, inda makapuza imimi. Mukai. Kwete kupuza zinani basa motaura kuti kwai chero dai vaenda kumakotsi ndonyaya ndaida kupindura mukoma Gondias. Munotaura izvo kuti kwai these people, my lawyers, my law firm, they represent people in these same courts vachiwina ma-court cases. Only on this issue munotaura kuti kwai dai vaenda kumakotsi vaizongoruza. Come on man guys. Hatidi kuvharwa mwese kuvharwa zvakapusa kudai also.
Please give me an opportunity to respond.
Thank you. Gondias, you wanna have a back and forth all the time, right? I'll give you 30 seconds so that I can be fair to everyone, right? Go ahead,
Right,
Gondias.
thank you very much. I want to approach this as a learning point for my young man. I used to like him a lot before we departed. So, Bamnin, when we say courts are captured, it does not mean that every decision is of the interest of the captors. Unogona kutoenda nenyaya yako yerape kucourt inonotongwa zvakanaka. Unogona kutoenda nenyaya yematitle deeds kucourt inonotongwa zvakanaka. What we mean by the courts are captured, we mean that there is a controlling force whose interests are imposed on the courts. So to the extent that the captors, in this case, we are saying the executive, Trukuti vana Mnangagwa, they've got a political interest which they impose on the decisions of the courts. So to the extent, well, so pane mamwe issues ekutoti opposition inogona kutoenda court inotonowina because political capital ipapo inenge iri nothing. But where the political capital is huge, that's when Mnangagwa will push the pieces and say, no, you cannot let Chabangu lose. And it. So I just wanted to read to you very quickly what we mean by judicial independence in response to your concern yekuti vane law firms avanoshanda nawo kuma courts. I think, guys, ndipewo a little bit of time ipapapa ndibetsere bamnini, because I know he has been punting on this point for a very long time. It can be a learning point for all of us. So I am reading. This is not my thinking. I want us all to learn. Judicial independence refers to the ability of the courts and judges to make decisions free from improper influence, whether from the executive, legislature, powerful individuals, corporations, or public pressure. It is a cornerstone of constitutionalism and the rule of law. Meaning of judicial independence. It means that judges must decide cases based on law and evidence only, be free from fear of retaliation for their rulings, be protected from interference by the government. So pandikuda kuti mubate bamnini Cooksman ndepekuti malaw firms haana basa because haasiwo anodecide macourts, vanotoendawo vachita majudgment. Vanhu vanofanira kunge vari free from making decisions majudges. Malaw firms vangoriwo
Alright,
maplayer.
siya malaw firm koma Gondias. Imoda
Yeah.
kutaura kuti party hainzi ine structure inongouya munhu
Yeah.
anobva kwaari kwaanongobva kutozviti ndinda SG.
So the biggest protection ipo paya bamninika is our judicial system, our institutions. Kubva kuparliament kusvika kumajudges ndo pane nyaya yese, ndo paifanira kubva protection yese ipapo. Pakatangira chamisa kurambirwa neparliament kuti munhu anongouya from Norway ototaura kuti ndini nda-SG, parliament yobva yatobvuma kuti ehe tokuziva kuti ndiwa-SG. Ndo pakatotangira kudzamudzwa ipo paya.
Okay, Gondas, just
So
hold
sorry, I
on.
don't want to take time, but Tinga get a back and forth. So that's fine.
Let me include everyone to the conversation. Ron Plus, go ahead. To those who are talking, I'll bring you up soon. Yeah.
Tekuno wandijamba kandi ndachiteera nhengereke nogondi asa gondi asatopinda pamberi pangu.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Maybe I should be clear on how Chamisa got the popularity that Cooksman is talking about. Chamisa initially angori involved in student politics at the university. He rose through the ranks until he was appointed vice president na President Tsvangirai. And then kusvika azokwanisa kutora power MDC alliance achitoenda kuma elections. It was his wisdom, it was the charismatic approach that he has. It's not that he is holding people at ransom. It's not that ZANU-PF created him to be like that. If they were able to create people like that, then we would be seeing vana vaMnangagwa far much better than what this guy Tagwire is doing. Andimazviona, but nyaya yepopularity is not something yokuti unoendera kuchikoro Cooksman kuti uwane popularity, haisiriyo. Inyaya yekuti you are born with it, you are born a leader. If you're not born a leader, you can force yourself to be a leader, but it won't work. I think in Koma Gondias by experience, Akanaka Shukuru, Panyama captured court, you want my law firms, Vana, Anomirama, my court, Anomirama cases, but you win. It's very true. But we are talking about the political cases. If you have a political case in Zimbabwe, you must know good that one it is prejudged, it is predetermined. Saka zvokusara tichiudzana kuti in Zimbabwe you can go to court win a political issue and then you hope to win. That will be a foolhardy. I think akaudzwa kasingaperi kuti stop recalling people. Akaudzwa necourt, stop recalling people now. And there were, I don't remember Nichiwana Panonzi, now Chabangu you can start recalling people. But he was threatening people with recalls. Andimashwana. Saka zvimwe zvinhu we have to be realistic. Kati chinge tichitaura. Chamisa kuti asiye party. Pane analogy abopuwa iyo yokuti pilot anenge kuti ndege yayo inotokirasha. Saka therefore what is better munhu anokuudza kuti ndege handisina control over the party. That was the same thing. The party was forcibly taken away from Chamisa because Chamisa anotanga nongotora parachute kachibuda mundege akatanga nokuti pakarekolwa the first batch vakatoita epressa vakabuda vese vachitaura Chamisa achivaudza kuti I did not recall anyone. Vakanyora tsamba before yachabangu vakati any communication should come through the office of the president. And I'm surprised, Cooksman, you are one person who I admired your charisma, I admired your courage because ndaitokutyirawo but kuti wozosumuka naso kuti party ina ma structures kuti ingozomuka munhu gudo rongosumuka roti nda general party yanga ina ma structures ndeipi? That's the question that I want to ask, because Triple C, we know the only person who was in the position was the president Nelson Chamisa. They are in a position. They had no positions. So I go report
Mambo, kana musina kuzvinzwa vanhu vaya vakabudisa nhingiri inonzi madhezi ekota muruziva kuti vakabudisa chinhingiri chairatidza kuti vanga vane structure.
So all right, if they had structures, then why did the Speaker of Parliament accepted Chabangu's letter? Ivo vanga vachitozwa ma structures avo kutoti uyu munhu anaenda kumberi kurikola munhu.
Maybe kuti munzwisise mukoma bvanyangu. Ivo vakatitaurira kuti there was a structure, an invisible structure. For reasons known kuti they were trying to hide nyaya infiltration, right? But we all know, this is why I'm telling you, that thing yekutorega kutoita structure, it was deliberate for that same 100%. Cause now of creating this Chabangu thing. How can you operate without a structure? Where have you ever seen that?
Ipanai machanzi mupedze because it atichangomira muchingodaro ende yakuita general chat because atifungi kuti vamwe tichazombowana chance because munotaura very length ende modzoka futi moribhata moita sei.
Okay, you can give another person.
Yeah, that's fine. Let me take over now. Techno, let me know when you come back. So let's just have him 4 minutes. Panyangu, you left with 30 seconds, yeah, so that I can go to new speakers. Thank you. To those who are requesting, I'll bring you up once I create a space. So Panyangu, your 30 seconds start now to just to close you. Okay, I think we understand what you're saying. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Scotty. But I think I had said almost everything. You can give someone else the chance.
Thank you. 1+, go ahead. Your 4 minutes start now.
Thank you and good morning. Oh, good afternoon. Anyways, I'll make my point as fast as I can. First of all, we all talk about change of government. We also as citizens need to change our own culture, how we do things. We must stop worshipping politicians. People worshipped Mugabe. People now they worship Mnangagwa despite the fact that they know he got into position through a coup. So whatever they sing, dance and all, our culture is just something else. They don't even have the guts to stand up and through their own party structures, they must tell their presidents or their leaders that this is wrong. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of, violence. Why can't they talk about violence in their party? Those are the things that I want taxi driver to tell us about. What is he saying about the violence, the corruption? He was talking about other things, trying to clean up. What's his name? Chivayo. Please, this country is corrupt. Some of us have an idea of how Ian Smith ran this country. He proved that you don't need assistance from any other country. He proved that Zimbabwe is self-sufficient. He had one trade route, that was South Africa. And when the British spoke to South Africa to say, stop giving Rhodesia the trading routes, when that happened, that's what forced Ian Smith and his party to the negotiating table. But before that, our country was self-sufficient. The dollar was even higher than the US dollar and 1-to-1 with the pound. Proof that good governance has a positive effect. Right now, look at how several issues were handled. Minda inonzi minda, takatora minda. Most in my family, including my extended family, there's not even one person on a farm or akapiwa chi. Look at those that have power in the party. They have more than one farm. Ian Smith Pashata, he had one farm, Kushurugwi. If people like taxi driver cannot tell the truth, they should at least tell us those things that they see. If they can't, they are causing all our problems in Zimbabwe. That's one. About Chamisa, Tese Tagasapota Chamisa Panap. We loved him. Then, when he goes for his sabbatical, no one is saying he shouldn't go for his sabbatical. What people are refusing is that we should also go on sabbatical because he has gone on sabbatical. Do we expect ZANU-PF to change the rules and give us new rules on a silver plate? That's not going to happen. That's why Anamandaza and these other guys are talking about it against 2030. We don't hear everyone coming up on what Chamisa is doing. He is dividing opposition. That's what we're complaining about. He is quiet. He only comes up when he hears that someone is trying to organize something. He rose and asked what Geza was trying to do. That's selfish. He should let people choose what they want to do. And then people say, isusu takamirira our, whatever they call him, like this guy was saying yesterday. That is selfish of him. That is for me, I think that's the reason that split MDC. Why did MDC split after Chabangu, after Trangirai? Couldn't they solve their problems if they had their difficulties? I do agree that MDC was infiltrated and it was destroyed from within. We are not sure who did it, but I don't believe that all of
I'll
of
give
them.
you 2 minutes, my sister.
Okay, thanks. So our culture of not telling the truth, of inability to face our leaders like South Africans do. They face them and they tell them. A few days ago, I was watching a sitcom on about, I think the Botswana president was in parliament, and one of the members of parliament stood up and told him right on his face, Kuti, you are a difficult person to work with. He wasn't angry. He actually laughed and spoke to the guy. You gave this plan and we looked at it. But when we looked at every plan, it wasn't the one that we adopted. There's no war. Zimbabweans don't have that culture. That's what we must change. And then what's his name? Taxi driver. You should look at things that are happening in Zimbabwe. If you look at the Mtapa funds, Mnangagwa then comes up with a statutory instrument. Nobody should have oversight. No one should get information on what is happening in the Mtapa funds. What do? They take all the parastatals, they shove them in there. Then we don't know what Tagwire is doing with the parastatals. Those are companies that were providing government with funds. Now government is dead broke, it's dry. Guys, have you been to hospitals, government hospitals? Toilets don't flush. Relatives of the patients are asked to move their buckets of water. These are government institutions. How come, or if you ask those things, you are told sanctions this, sanctions that. How come during the sanctions, those political leaders, they became multi-millionaires, they become...
Yeah, thank you, my sister. I'll give you another opportunity. I just want to be fair to everyone. I got also people who are requesting. Say they guys
Okay,
drop,
thank
then
you.
they will bring you up. My sister,
Thank you.
thank you. I'll give you another bite. Dops, go ahead. It was in Exa. Then okay, go Dops, go ahead. Then we go to in Exa. So basically, I'm bringing you up.
Um,
Are you back?
host, oh, yes, I'm back.
Many thanks. Yeah, what we have to understand, ZANU-PF got is that history of destroying opposition, or its leaders have the history again of destroying those who oppose them. Then that is where we should start, rather than pointing fingers to other opposition members to say because of ABCD. We know they've destroyed the even ZAPU was destroyed by ZANU by just swallowing it, and it can't resuscitate. So in terms of those structures we are talking about, they were there. That is why we used to have the cluster leaders. When we have constituents, we have the leaders who were leading there. And there were advantage and disadvantage of those leaders. A good example is of Gwanda South. We end up losing because the cluster leader of Gwanda, before delimitation, end up forwarding himself to become the candidate for Gwanda South, which have been under opposition, but then we end up losing it because the best candidate was sidelined. So that is one of the disadvantages. I'm not saying having that type of structure is always an advantage, but where I agree with people, the structure did not work to give us direction in terms of defending the vote. That is where I agree to say they were not vocal, just quiet. And we end up losing the election, but we were winning the election in terms of parliamentary seat. To say if we have defended them, the Chawango issue was going to become useless in the first place. Then, in terms of those politicians to say they never stick to them, yeah, I don't think that the system of government in Zimbabwe is really working to say anybody represent the interests of the people. Because we find out to say the MPs themselves are the ones who benefit, like starting with the executive MPs, judges, they are the ones who get those loans, massive loans towards the election. Some as the $500,000 housing loan. The Mnangagwa family alone get $1 million housing loan. Don't they have houses and farms? Then at the moment you see what happened with the parliament. They have those exemptions, they can import cars without paying duty, and you pay almost 100%. They go through toll gates without paying anything, and you pay. In the city center, they don't park, but pensioners, they don't pay for parking, but pensioners and others park. We want those benefits to go to the pensioners and other people who cannot hustle to earn a living. But it's not happening because nobody is representing anybody. So, of course, yeah, it's the truth to say we can go to the free education next year. What happens now? We have grade 7, grade out, we have dropouts because it's not there. But how many times have ZANU-PF promised free education? We don't need to talk about health for all by the year 2000. And then, 25 years later, there's no, it no longer exists, but it was promised for all. But now health service no longer exists, but it was said it will be free by the year 2000. And some of the things which are there, they're just captured to do public relations, like the presidential social work, presidential input scheme. They just capture everything without necessary regulations to say who benefits. And the people go for it. If Mnangagwa go and donate a wheelchair to great man, people would praise him, but he is not supposed to do that. I mean, people like a great man who are all over in Chirezi alone, and how many who are benefiting. But if we make legislation, laws to say people like that, they should be supported by our social welfare and open offices for that, or use post office like what the Judicial was doing when they were giving those ones who are disabled financial support. It's not happening. So for the sake of time, let me just end up here, but let's just agree that the system of government in Zimbabwe, you can go to the budget now. It's useless. Nobody's going to benefit. It's not working. And we put a full stop and stop blaming anybody. Go straight to the government, to the head of government to say Mnangagwa is failing. Then you can have a solution. But if you go and blames others who are on sabbatical, others who are not doing anything, and to say that destabilize and so forth, no, it's us who are not rising to the occasion to identify where the problem is, mention it, and then we can come up with solution to say what can we do. I end up there. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you. Techno, do you want to take over? Are you back now?
Yes, please. If you can just give me the order
Okay.
you had put in. Yeah.
The order. Pampane futhi mariba sangachikwa nokuya. Okay, that's fine. So let me give you the order now. So in Exile, then you Black Panda, Mkoma Charumbira, then you Nyika, and Zambesia. Text drop this, so we'll bring up soon. Both ban space. Anyone can drop for text to come up. Yeah. So did you get the lineup?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Okay, let's go the next speaker, please. Thank you. Then I'll pick up from where you had left. Thank you.
Ndeipi Techno, ndeipi Scori, maswera. Aiwa, ini zvangu ndoda kungosapota zvangu zvakaitwa naachamisa, not kuti ndakapusa. And maZimbabweans, let's just learn kuti munhu ane pfungwa dzake. Hakuna munhu anganzi nekuti atera ichi saka iwewe ndowakangwara stereki. Ngandiregerei kudaro. Ini ndine pfungwawo dzangu dzokuti chendinoda ndeichi, ichi handidi ichi. Saka vachamisa ndinoda ngo he did good. Vakangowasisatonga pai nekuti ZANU-PF yatodhonza chimuti yatoenda nacho, so he did good kumboenda pasabbatical. Then anhara anodzoka vana kuti ndaresign, handiti vakati ndakumbondozorora zvangu. Ko wacho vakasara vani vanancobe vani ana biti vakati vachachinjana naMaikore vakati vachienda kucongress, hatisi kuvablame, tingori nemunhu akaenda pazororo. Then thank you Gondian nenyaya yemacourts yawatsanangura. Hakusi kuti vanhu kana vachinomirirwa pana imwe kesi yavachapirwa, but chimbozvitarisa pakaiswa nyaya dzema-opposition kukoti, kazhinji ZANU-PF inoenda ichindohwinisa kune the weaker side racho ravanenge vachida ivo. Kune munhu anenge achiziva kuti anenge achimuti nyangwe matongero anenge aita okay, but still vanenge vachitoendesa kune munhu anotoziva kuti is a weaker side. Vanadhagi vacho vakazoitiko, nanhasi hapana chetikutaura nezvavo. So ndoti hangu guys, hopo vanhu vakawanda and sekuona kwangu vanhu vakatonzwa nana Chamisa padhuze. I think they're also spies in some way. Vakatoona information yavaida. Maybe kana kuti vakaiwana here kana kuti havana kuiwana. But I think vanhu vaitoda kutoshandirawo zvavaida kutoshandisa kutsvaga information. Zani yakangwara. Zani yakangwara. Saka let's be very, very careful. Kuti sometimes unoitiswa. That's why I got for now. Thank you, Techno. Thank you, Squad.
Thank you very much, Nexa. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next speaker.
Okay. All right.
My chances. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Unoti kana achinzima kana akanzima oyo courts are captured. At least prove it by doing something. Is panapa tikusara tingofunga tega kutoda kudecide kuti zviri kutaurwa ichokwadi here kuti courts are captured or not. At least test them. Kana paita SG asingazikamwe kupati inonzi haina mastructures ine mastructures. Why ndichiti haina inawo nekuti azive kuti yanga inawo here kana kuti yanga isina. So at least do something about it. For example, if you are to call for a protest, it's something that shows determination, that shows courage, that shows kuti iwewe vanhu uri kuda kumira navo. Haungatauriri kuti iwewe unofoma part wongoiti color yellow yeregalia yellow, just yellow.
Zani yakakoma kangani even before. Read the history. Ingani yaingofoma 1 nhasi yazano. Zvingashamise. Zvemakotsi even before. Even before the courts panyaya 2018 elections. Waenda vanhu kumacourts malabaka numbers don't matter. Ungataure wewe kuti hanzi zvaishwa kwakawanda kunobuda masame numbers amnangagwa masame about 5 I think my constituents. Guys, zvimwe zvacho hazvitomboda evidence. You can see kuti mumwe wako akubuda uyu nemachanges anenge achiitika mumba unogona kuona kuti mabati wanda kuitwa kai mumwe wangu
16 polling stations, identical numbers.
Guys, oda evidence yekuti mumwe wako akubuda uchiona hanzi ndinoda kubata chikomba.
Izvozvo zvezvichiitika ndiri zauti yekushaya mapolling agents nemastructures.
Guys, let's just give in Excel time to submit, and then we let's make it be orderly in that. So in Excel, is it in Excel if I'm not mistaken?
No, ndinindandiripo ndakanyarara because ndatinika
It was in exile. Then after in exile, I was supposed to come in and then Karumbira just come in.
Okay, I need to know. Okay, so
yeah, when it's your turn to speak.
Who was next?
No, it's me, and that's under page.
It was me.
Karumbira in exile. Can you let the guy submit, please? Thank you very much. Like they allowed you to submit.
Yeah, thank you.
So Karumbira, you can go ahead, sir.
Saka tirikuda isusuka tirikuda kuona because action ndo inonyanya kudiwa nevanhu. Iko zvizvi tine example yamadzimbabwe eshanduko. Madzimbabwe eshanduko kana totaura munhu anosapota kokusumetika kutaura zvake, but kana totaura munhu anosapota Chamisa zviri public kuzvinozikamwa nemunhu wese is that guy. But nditaurirei kuti patime yaakaenda achinosapota Geza wakataura iye achiti ini ndiri kunosapota Geza asina kamirana Chamisa. Look what happened to him now. Munhu asvika nanhasi. Sure.
Can you just let him speak? Let him speak. If you keep interrupting him, ndakudropa sorry.
Thank you. So the thing is ndikuti inini oyo achienda kugeza revolution akaenda asi ari muzita raChamisa. This is an example yemunhu anosapota munhu. Asi munhu ari kusapota ane hope yekuti one day I believe kuti uchatungamirira nyika. Saka pazviriko zvinhu izvi mukada kutarisa munhu anotaura ndaenda kusabbatical ndokutaurirai kuti Chamisa akatora Zimbabwe yayi tikapindirwa neforce from an outside force anokusiya muchiparadza. That's a good example yaleader anourayisa vanhu. Auite izvozvo kana uri leader unless sekutaura kwatomboita ndikutaura kuti kubvira pokutanga the fact yokuti iwewe wakauya nepati iri ine mastructures isina mastructures ipapo chete that was a good sign to open space for vanhu vakaita sana Chavaku. That's exactly what happened. I don't take much time kutaura panapa but zvinhu zvakawanda zvatingakutaurire. Support him hatisi kurambidza asi tiri kupai mafacts. Musati imimi kana muchinosapota ZANU-PF kuna vanhu vanosapota ZANU-PF kana vanhu vanosapota opposition vaakukriticize leader wavo muri kuti imimi izvozvo zvakaipa hazvifaniri kudaro because tiri kumukriticize because of the works that he is doing. Because isusu tinofanira kuunderstand kuti chinonzi democracy. Support your leader, criticize your leader even to the extent yokutaura kuti nozvozvo kuti hazviiti izvi ndo democracy yacho yaari kurwira. Saka sabbatical yake ndabvunza hapana bvunzo wokuti yakanga iri justified here ende kunani ende why. Hapana atagona kupindura bvunzo iyoyo. Sabbatical yake inobatsira ani? Iri kubatsira ani? Iri kuitei kune vanhu? Inobatsira ani sabbatical yaanotaura nezvayo? Ende zvinomborevei kuti sabbatical? Kana uri pasabbatical wakudzoka wozobva kusabbatical right apita topinda 2026 2027 right akuzouya 2028 takuenda toti my elections 2028 arikuitwa muna September ozouya muna June 2028 hauna chawabuilda kubvira nguva yese while ZANU-PF is building. Iri kupa vanhu a culture of understanding all about their party. But iwe unozouya 2028 muna June my elections ari muna September wakutora kuti 2043 hauna kana even anything chatinoziva kuti chii about yourself. But don't tell us sabbatical you get say. So don't talk about all these things. Iti inini ndasiya politics zvapera. Usataura sabbatical because ichafunga kuti uchadzoka. Vakawanda vachafunga kuti uchadzoka. Iwewe kana wadzoka uzodzoka muna 2028 and then vanhu vobva kuti ndito wedu wadzoka wanga sabbatical. But hapana culture. Hatikuzivi, hatezi vatiri kunzwisisa, vanhu vachakutevera vari kutevera blindly. So please tozinzwisa umwe munhu anogona kudiwa nevanhu to the extent yokuti vanhu vanoti chero akaipa sei tinomubuda chete. That's exactly what is happening even na Mnangagwa. Tingamuramba sei, tingamuita sei, tingamudikura vanhu vanomubuda akadaro saizvozvo. Saka let's understand kuti if we criticize Chamisa, you must, and then you are angry about it, you must as well agree kuti vanhu vanoita angry when we criticize Mnangagwa vari right. So let's be fair. Kwenda kuti imi muroti criticize Mnangagwa but musa criticize Chamisa as long as wakambe uchimusupporta like what this young man was doing. Cooksman, even myself I'm supporter but hakumbu criticize. So musatsamba kana taita izvo because that's the same exactly thing that you are doing kuna Mnangagwa nemasupporters vacho achigumbuka. Thank you. No submission.
Thank you so much.
Can I rebut ndobandapa space yangu kuna someone? 1 minute rebut, then I go.
Who is the next speaker after? I just want to know.
It was
I think it was
Black Panther. It was Black Panther.
Okay, Black Panther, are you happy with that?
1 minute Black Panther. Ndobandapa space yangu kuna takes out of way.
Okay then, thank you.
So paitwa a ridiculous proposition panapa. Kuti Chamisa came out very clearly that he is not supporting the Geza revolution. He is not part of it.
You do not understand me. Please, you do not understand me.
No.
That ndati Chamisa akaramba asi aramba kusapota Geza. Uyu ndiri kutaura with regards to
I'm going there.
Saka handira kuti Chamisa akasapota Geza.
Chamisa was not supporting Geza, and therefore Madzibaba was supporting something that Chamisa was not supporting. And therefore, why should Chamisa then unite na Madzibaba achifira zvinhu zvaanga asinga support? That's my rebut. Murupabata ipapo. So it's a preposterous proposition that you are making. Yekuti Chamisa is not for the Geza revolution, madzibaba unoita geza revolution obva asungwa, then it's Chamisa who must then bail out madzibaba. Where is Geza? Does that make sense to you? Ndabva ndasiyira ipapo zvangu, ngavachiuyawo vamwe.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to the next speaker in the order. Yaiswana host, please. Thank you. I think it was Black Panther, was it? Thank you. Can you all hear me? No?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think Black Panda. Black Panda, are you there? Black Panda is not there. I think network. Can you hear me, Techno?
Yes, I can hear you clear.
Yeah. So just go to next speaker. I think Black Panda is not there.
So I think it was it Nika, or if I remember?
Yeah, Nika.
Thank you. Nika, go ahead, man.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ndanda kutokotsera panapa. Well, panopatarwa nyaya dzakawanda, but regai titange nemapoliticians make promises that they never stick to. Very true. This is very common everywhere in the world. In any country that you go to, you find politicians. In some countries, they will keep some promises that they make. In other and others, they won't keep. It depends on the answerability of politicians to their electorate, to the people who elect them. How much answerable are they to those populations? You find in countries where elections do work, politicians tend to, if they win a mandate from the people, then they will do a number of things that will please the people and then perhaps win them a second term, and so forth and so forth. This is why you see developed countries, so-called developed countries or first world countries. The moment you step into that country, you find there's a lot of things going on at the same time. And you count 5 years from the time you go into that country, you see that the country that you moved into or the city that you moved into has transformed 5 times over in those 5 years. A lot of things would have changed. Train stations that you knew would have been changed. The roads that you knew would have been changed. Where there was never a bridge, there would be, multiple bridges, and what Chamisa used to call spaghetti roads, and so on and so on. And that keeps on happening for your lifetime. You continue to see development on your doorstep. You continue to see a lot of things because politicians are answerable to the people, and they fear being outvoted, if they don't do a number of things. Now, when you take the same concept to Zimbabwe and many other African countries, you do find that our governments set themselves up from day one as dictatorships. Now, what that takes away is the answerability factor. The fact that politicians should be answerable to people, it takes that away and then places those politicians in a very unreachable position where people, even if they want to, the only thing they can do is talk like we're doing now. But we can't make the politicians do anything because we can't use the election to remove them from our faces. If they mess up, they will last 45 years, they will last 50 years if they want, because they know they've placed themselves in a position where they can't be made answerable, but at the same time, they can't be removed as well. This is why you see year in, year out in Africa, there is a coup somewhere. I think just the day before yesterday, there was a coup in some other stupid country as well in Africa. And these things will keep on happening. Now, in Zimbabwe, we had ZANU-PF setting itself up as a dictatorship way before independence. during the liberation struggle, and moved into independence as a dictatorship, and carried itself that way, and made sure that the opposition never existed in a meaningful sense in the country. And I think Dobbs did mention earlier on that this is how ZANU-PF has always had a relationship with the opposition, that the opposition should be swallowed, the opposition never exist, the opposition never be allowed to function as a normal opposition. So in that way, you do find ZANU-PF has never been answerable to the people. They've never kept many of the promises that they made to the people. Gutsaru Jinji, Nyika Mukaka, all these Vision 2020 things that they promised us, and Vision 20 whatever, all these stupid things that they were coming up with, they've never kept, because they are not answerable to the people. And to make matters worse, we have had epochs in our history where there's actually been a takeover by the military, further deepening our crisis, that we can't do anything to these politicians. We can't make them answerable for what they have promised. We can't make them do what they should be doing to this country, so that the country can be a normal country. So you do find after 2017, we are in a worse situation, because we have to reverse that situation where the country is now under a military dictatorship. The army, although it was not neutral from 1980, it has never functioned as an army for the people. It has always functioned as an army for ZANU-PF, but it had never defined itself as the one that should run the country like they are doing now, that they took over the country, handed it over to Mnangagwa, and then put one of theirs as a vice president. So we are in a situation where we can't do much to make these politicians answerable, because they are now in Zimbabwe, they are so unreachable. When you have a coup, they distance themselves from us to a point where we can't reach them. So the thing that can happen is you might have another coup, just like what's happening elsewhere around Africa, because people realize, other than that, you have no other power. You can't use I think everyone has given up on elections. I've heard people saying elections won't work. It's because ZANU-PF makes elections not work. Elections do work in countries that are well organized, countries that respect the constitution, and so on and so on. If ZANU-PF were to level the playing field, things would just start working in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is everything that it needs to be able to function as a country. But surely, where in the world would politicians be able to keep their promises with a national cake of 45 billion or less, depending on what our GDP is, and to build a country, to build a city that is worth its salt? You find that around the world, you probably need around about 60 to 70 billion to be able to build a city yakanaka, which is why we have shoddy cities in Zimbabwe, because there is no money. As a nation, we have 45 billion, and yet to be able to build a completely modern city, you need about $70 billion. So we are in a very, very, very tight situation where there's no money. These politicians can't even keep their promises. They can wish whatever they wish, but there's nothing they can use to be able to keep those promises. Recently, they did a stupid budget that they did. Things like 9 billion, or I can't remember, is it 5 billion or something? Surely, divide that by 16 million and see how much it is that we have to share in that budget. As Zimbabwe, for us to be able to function normally, we need at least one person to have around about 30,000 US dollars, so that we can have around about 480 billion as a country. And this will enable all these things that we are wishing for to at least be met in some way. If we did better, we would need about $1 trillion so that we can actually build Zimbabwe to be like, Singapore and all these other countries. That's how much we would need. So if we are talking of a country that's still sitting at 45 billion, surely no promises will be kept. Promises will be made day in, day out, year in, year out, and it will be 100 years before we can achieve whatever we want to achieve. So these guys need something that will remove them from power completely, as ZANU-PF, as a complete state, not to remove each other from power. They need something that will remove them from power. And I don't know what it is that will do that. But other than that, we will still be stuck with these guys. They will still continue to make promises. We can't make them keep their promises at the moment because the whole country has been captured. The army is in the mix of things. And whatever we're going to try to do, they will chip up and say, you can't remove us. We are in charge. Because at the moment, they are in charge. They took over the country. And that's not a secret. We can whine about where it was a coup. That was not a coup. It was a coup. The army did take over the country, and we are under military rule at the moment. Mnangagwa is a stooge leader who has been placed there by the military and is been held by the balls since 2017 and can't do much. Thank you.